Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's show, Thanksgiving arrived a little early. Aw, the Thanksgiving Cactus. Now, it is the second week of November. Thanksgiving is 2 weeks from this Thursday, and I didn't time that out quite well, did I? Yeah. So all of my tips that I've given on my Thanksgiving cactus and how to make more blooms worked for me this year tremendously. I brought it inside from outside when it was cool enough at night to do so. I kept it in cooler conditions, more dark than light, like 12 hours of darkness most days throughout the week, and less water. And I got all kinds of blooms. So on the update that I had a couple shows ago, we updated all the blooms. I had over 50, probably closer to 75 blooms ready to bud. Now, typically the case with bonsai trees, when you have a flowering or fruiting tree, boy, does that flower or fruit drain the energy from the tree, right? And so a lot of times we cut away the flower buds before we even see them. In this case, of course, I like to see the bloom, hopefully close to Thanksgiving time, and then we let it go back to the bonsai room right in here on the shelf where we can let the next phase of growth happen. So one of the things that I've learned about the Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter cactus, as I just did a little bit more research in the last couple of days, I saw a video posted on YouTube about a guy who talked about where these come from, and that these are more underbrush cactuses in more of, I believe, more of a rainforesty type situation. So they are actually a succulent. So they're a cactus, but they're a succulent, but not your desert style. And so a lot of times these have a lot of moisture going on in the development of these trees in the understory of other trees. I did not know that. Now, that's just from one source. He seemed like a fine young man who knew what he was talking about, so very interesting stuff. The only thing I would change about how I care for my Thanksgiving cactus is he talked about how much water they like. Comparatively speaking to other succulents, that they do really like the moisture because they're in that kind of climate where there's more moisture. So here we have the tree. The last picture I took was probably the best picture I could take because it's looking a little droopy now, which gave me some inspiration. So the inspiration for this tree is I would like to grow it taller with real good hardwood trunks going like down there, taller up on the tree, and so I can have more of a weeping style flower, weeping style tree, because this will probably bode more well for a weeping. If you see Christmas and Thanksgiving cactuses at people's house during the holidays or in their house in general, they've got these big old weeping branches and they just got all this length, and then the tips have the flowers and they just droop. So, well, yeah, but of course, how come I didn't think of that sooner? This could be a really nice weeping style bonsai. Because right now, the flowers and the weep take away the entire trunk view from our view. So if we had a little bit more trunk and the tree was taller, almost like a weeping willow, we'll be able to see that trunk in the future. So as sad as it is, I'm going to be working the rest of this week, and this weekend is not a weekend with kids, but we will be at basketball tournaments, but not family coming over. These are all going to slowly wilt away and fall off the tree. So yep, I'm just going to go ahead and work on the tree right now. I've had absolute a blast enjoying the tree. But let's get a little closer and let's do the big chop of the Thanksgiving cactus and say goodbye to all these blooms. It's time to cut all the beautiful flowers off of the Thanksgiving cactus. It would be enjoyable for a couple of more days, but it's getting really wilty in here, and the flowers, some of them are getting real soft and ready to fall apart here. I did get a good picture a couple of days ago when it was in its prime. And you'll notice even some of the other buds that used to be on are just fizzling away, and it's like it needs some help. It's taking away so much energy from the tree. It's time to take care of it. I do remember too this gentleman saying on his YouTube channel that if you have really a lot of too much light and too much heat when you are getting these buds to go early in the season, you also can run into the problem of having some of your buds just fall off like that. Like I just took that one off, but they might fall off and not be on as securely if you have too much light, too much heat. So again, that drier element, the darker element, and no lights for a long, long time. It's going to help you out with your tree. So we're going to go ahead and, wow, we're going to defoliate the flowers off of this tree. So let's get started with that first. Been a really good fall for blooms this year for me. I had the hibiscus tree. Late summer, early fall, just put on a ton of flowers and bloomed them a couple a day, 2 and 3 and sometimes 4 in one day. It was fantastic. Now you can see all the purple color. There's more life to this. These all could bloom out into flowers here and still survive here in the plant room with some good imagery. But how is this, everybody? How is this for some carnage cam? That's some of the prettiest carnage cam I've ever seen. Hey, Jay? Yeah. It's too bad it has to go by the wayside. But there'll be next year, there'll be more flowers, and I think these will all be cut away. So I mentioned my quest to make this a little bit taller so we can maybe have a tall tree with really good drooping flowers in the season that it flowers. Now, I haven't done a whole lot with this the entire year because after I repotted it last winter, due to some thinning out of the branches and the thinning out of the trunks, they looked kind of emaciated and in the fact that maybe the water was not getting through up into the system and there was some clogging going on with my soil. So I put it in this pot and it loved life afterwards, and ever since it's been doing great. But I haven't done hardly a snip on this thing all year round. So we've got some sorting out to do. This is the front, the proposed front, because we have this split on the trunk right here that goes back there and here. And so when you have it this way, this kind of blocks this branch, but you can see that in the background. So either one could be a good front. I almost like this better now of late, so we'll see. That's the nice thing about an oval pot, a rectangle pot. You can change your mind multiple times. So what are we going to do with this tree? We want it to get really nice and woody like this higher up. So we want to encourage a little bit more height, but I still want to have some ramification. So here's a nice example right here of where the tree splits to 2, right here, here and here. This split to 2 here and here, and this was an immediate split right here, which was super nice. And now it's split into 2 here, and look at how nice and hard and woody that's becoming. It's starting to get there like this. So hopefully this will be as thick as this by the end of next year, and then everything will just keep getting bigger. My decision now is up here. I'm going to cut it down to probably 2, or do I just cut it down to a nub period? And the reason why I ask is because this right here is starting to get a little bit of light gray coloring in here, like that could be the next hardwood. And look at how short that internode is. So look, we have down here an internode that's about 1 inch, a little bit over, a short internode, then a long internode, and then a relatively okay internode, shorter than this one by a little, and then a super short internode. In bonsai, we're always looking for those short internodes as we go out and ramify. So that's a glorious internode, so I don't want to cut that away, I don't think. And then it splits off into 3. 1, 2, 3. So if this is the front, I maybe don't want this front one here coming at us, so I'll cut that one off, and I'll cut this one down to 1. 1 stub, and the reason why is because I want this to stay getting old and mature. I like these short internodes here, and hopefully those will grow 2 out, but we'll keep getting more woody trunk. Now, there is a branch back here, but that's connected to this over here. So if I have this right here split into 2, I've got 3 actually, here, here, and this one right here. If I keep this one, it's behind this one. So I probably will keep that one for this go around, and so I'll cut that one off back there. And then this one down to its stub as well. So now we have the original trunk splits to 2 here, then right away right here, there it is, and then right there, and now right here and here. This one's more mature, turning into that hard wood, but maybe that one will do the same in time. And so I've got 2 branches here and here, but look at how much bigger, everybody, this internode is than this one. This one grew much bigger before it split, and this one split here. So I could cut this one completely off and grow another one and see how that works as far as energy. But I will wait on that decision. So now the other side of this split is right over here. And again, we want to cut back to 2. This one's kind of a straggly run right here in the middle. I'll cut that off. This is a nice thick one. And right here, here's some signs of some aging trunk color right here. Getting a little bit of that non-green. And it splits right here and here. So let's cut all of this above it off right there. And there's our 2. 1 to 2, 1 to 2 right there and there. So, and here's the other side of this 2, and it's really weak. So let's just cut it down to there and see if that little one can catch up and thicken up like this one did. And if not, no big deal. We just have a longer section here. We can cut it all off and hope for more buds later. So that one section of the tree is done. We're going to go back to this branch now here and work on that one. So again, we have a 1 that comes up to, it looks like 1, 2, 3, but this one's got the old wood. That's looking really nice. But because I want some maybe back texture to this tree, or do I? Because I want it to be tall, remember. Do I keep the 2 tall ones then to get a real tall tree? And look at that. Look at that, everybody. Here's a long internode, and look at this one right here. That's not even 1/4 of an inch, I don't think. That right there is a phenomenal internode. So let's keep that internode right there. We are looking for small internodes, so that's the one I should maybe keep. We'll cut this one off because it's a longer internode, and this one's a long internode, but I have no choice. But we're going to cut all that off to try to equalize this a little bit more. This will push out some new growth, maybe split into 2 here, and it'll split the 2 up here. We'll see. We might even over time keep this one in place of this one, because look at how we have 3 right next to each other right here. That's not very favorable, but I hate to lose this really nice trunk here. But maybe I'll lose this one instead of this one in the future, so I have 1 over here, 1 over here. And that would put more space between here. So that seems much more like a viable choice for me in the future, but I'll wait and see how they grow. So that's this first split right here, these 2 branches going up the tree. Now this one has some nice height on it, and it's only from 1 to 1. We didn't keep it 2 because it was getting crowded in here. And then it comes and splits up to 2 right here. And then we're just going to go ahead and cut everything back to see what grows. And everything back. And now we have a nice split here into 2 in this center section here. It splits to 2, and they're not the same size internodes. Look at that one, shorter by about half. We'll see what they do in the future. But maybe I'll get rid of this one again. If I'm looking for the height of this tree, I'll keep one of the 2 maybe in the future. Now this one does have another branch over here, right? It splits right here. We got all kinds of things going on. We're going to cut these 2 because I know we're not going to keep these 2 just because they're too low. Remember, now I'm going for a high tree. I want this to grow up for another season or 2 so I can get a really tall tree and then have all the flowers weep like a weeping willow. And this one again has a really small internode. Look at that right there. I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to cut that one off. I had 5 growing there. Look at that. So this one splits into 3, but this is a really good internode. I'm just going to get rid of this one. And well, let's go down to here for now. And let's go down to 1 for here and 1 for there. There we go. So now it looks like I have 3, but this is the split from this one. But you know what? I think we'll free up some space to look through this tree and keep the 2 right there. Because we have a nice internode here, then some change in direction right here. Just a little subtle change in direction, and then it splits into the 2. So I really like how that's forming. And now these 2 can be up here, and when they grow tall and weep, they won't maybe cover these that grow tall and weep. These are all on the inside. Let's get that gone. This one is on the inside. This is on the inside. So we cut that all off. So there we go. We have 1 and 2 on the left side of this. If this were the front, those left 2 are done. If that's still the front, the right side is done. And see how this branch curves in this way? We can really see it from the front, and then this is coming out here. And this is nice and firm now. This is getting pretty firm. And again, we may cut one of these 3 off, maybe this middle one, to show these trees coming out here. And I'll get a split to 2 here and a split to 2 there. We'll decide that maybe next time. Now on this back one back here, look at the woodiness on this trunk, even up to this height right here. So I like that. And this right here is crowding each other out. So we're going to cut down to 1 internode right there. And this one's getting a little bit of that woody look as well. So we got rid of these little ones out here. And here's this one right here. And this one already splits into 2 right there. And this one splits up here into multiple. But this has the hard woody look, but look at how small this inner node is. So if I wanted these to be more equal, I could cut these down. But you know what? This grows up and can split to 2 here just fine, and this can maybe get 2 out here younger. And then we've got more different varying ramifications going on with this tree, so I don't mind that. But let's go ahead and cut this down to 1 right here. We'll cut this down to 1 right here, and this is getting nice and sturdy too. And look at those nice small inner nodes, not real long like its father one right up here. So we have short, 2 shorts here, a long, a short there. So we're getting some variation on the tree. And it's the back one instead of the front one, so that's kind of nice. These can grow and hang here. These can grow tall and hang in front there. Now we have this back one. And again, if you look from the back, look at this one's almost completely grayed out now, just a little bit of green left. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 branches in there, but this one is graying like it's good and old. Let's cut this middle one out for sure. We're going to leave that gray one, and I think we'll cut this one out because we want this to grow to the left and right now, right next to this nice older wood one. So this one hasn't hardened off as well yet, but this one is getting really close to being fully hardened off. These two are very nice short inner nodes. They'll grow up and maybe they'll shoot out buds this way and this way next time. That would be kind of nice. You never know with these trees if they're going to grow the same way or not. I'm starting to get some rotating on the 2 buds, so that helps. So the only thing left on this tree then is this guy. It's only hardened off to there, so if we cut down to 1 there and cut down to 1 there, we would hope that these would harden off for the next season. So let's take a look at the tree and make our final decisions here. So this branch is completely covered by this one. So do we even need this branch there? Maybe we need 2 full inner nodes before it splits, especially if we're looking for a really tall tree that's going to kind of hang down with all the flowers. This one's getting kind of lost. But if this one grows more up this way, that could be really cool in the future. So maybe I just cut this one off to give a little bit more space in here. And we'll see if we can get a split up here into 2. And again, I don't mind that it doesn't ramify every single inch of the branch. As long as we have some kind of hopefully taper, which we have big to thinner, big to thin, thin to a little bit thinner here and here. This is getting close to this thickness, but then we get thinner up to here. So if you go back and watch the very first one that I did of this tree from a little cutting, I've done very similar prunes to this Thanksgiving cactus. They're very easy to work on because they have a very good 3 to 2 type concept. Sometimes I had 4 and 5 on here, but look at how nice it is split. From 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, and then 1 to 2. It's just really been very consistent, so it's easy to make decisions. And I've been able to pluck away a few extra ones like this one, and now we even have this subtle little movement here. Very subtle here, but it's there. It's kind of nice. When you have these rounder trunks here, you know they're going to harden off faster and become more that hard trunk, more like this claw shape. That's going to take a little bit more time for this to peel off. See right there? There you go. That just peeled off right there. That'll peel off slowly but surely, and it'll be round, kind of like down here. So you lose a little bit of that claw look in time. Now this looks a little congested right here. These two are very close together. If this one was pointing out this way, I should have maybe kept that one. I just wanted that hard or small intranode. So I'm not sure what to do with that one. I like the ramification back here, but again, they're very close together. So maybe one side of this goes away. Now look, this has kind of a weird split right here. This is kind of halfway down this inner node, so that's kind of unique. I don't know if that's going to stay long term. But for right now, I could cut off this branch right here, so it has just a little bit more separation in here. And if you look at this as the front, again, not as appealing. It looks like it's curved more towards the front that way. So that's why this is the front, everybody. It kind of comes and hugs you a little bit more this way. So if that is still the front, I like it the way it is. We're just going to let it grow, although I just do think this is going to be a little bit too much in our face. And I could even cut this all the way back too, even though this one's hardening off, for this one to survive and maybe split into 2 pretty branches. And then you'd have taper from there to there. You know what? Let's do that. Let's be bold. Let's get rid of this nice hardwood. I'm getting rid of a little bit of age here. Let's get rid of that. Let's hope this produces a real nice split right there. And then when this kind of rounds off, this will all heal, and then it'll all look nice in some time. And that opens up this a little bit, and these are both the same exact size. We'd like one a little bit bigger. Let's go ahead and cut that off for right now and see what this kind of funky thing does. So now we have a couple here, a couple here, a couple here, a couple here, a couple there and there, a couple of singles. and we can see what this tree will do. There is the Thanksgiving cactus, the after a beautiful display of blooms this year. I still have all the purple buds sitting in there in the pot. Really kind of pretty. Adds a little color to this. Almost makes it look like it's kind of cartoony or just almost very surreal in color. Very, very pretty. All right. Let's give it a 360 for you so you can see this tree now again from all the way around. Little shallow this way. We want a little bit more growth this way down the road. The other potential front, if we maybe tilted it a little bit that way, this side, but there we go. So there we have the Thanksgiving cactus. The blooms are gone, but what a fun tree this has been this year. The tree is looking pretty good. It's all ready for a plant room season. Now it won't grow crazy growth in here, and the light's not the sunlight, and so we're gonna have to make sure that it doesn't get too leggy. So we might do one more prune in the spring before we put out for summer for the real big push. The other thing I did learn in my research with the fellow on the YouTube channel, I'll try to find that again and leave a description link for you for this guy and what he talked about with the Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter cactuses. I'll try to find that link again for you. Should be in my history of what I watched, so I should be able to find it for you. But one of the other things that I think I'm going to try next year different is because these are understory trees, and again, more of a rainforesty type succulent, if there is such a thing, compared to a desert cactus. It's more of a temperate forest in the mountains, 2,000 to 9,000 feet, and so it's covered by shade a lot, unlike a desert cactus would be, right? So I have this in the blaring sun all year long, and it grows like crazy the last part of summer, but the first part, it is kind of slow to get going. I'm going to put it in the shade next year, more shade anyway, morning sun and then some decent shade in the afternoon, and see how much this puts on growth next year. An experiment continues as always. That's going to wrap it up. Short and sweet today. The Thanksgiving cactus, a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving. I got some pretty blooms, but it will not be on the Thanksgiving table this year. Maybe I'll time it a little bit better next time. So until next time, hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you very soon.